Before we jump into the review of this Sigma lens, I want to remind you guys that if you haven't signed up for the Fronos Photo email list, you can do so over on the website. Just look for that orange box, put your name, email address in there, hit send it, and I will send you a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com, and this is a review of the Sigma 18-35 1.8 that is a very sought after lens. There are a lot of people asking me, what do I think about this? And that is why I am doing a full-on review of this Sigma lens. So who is this lens for? Well, who do they make it for? First off, you can get it on Nikon, you can get it on Canon, you can get it on the Sigma mounts. I'm not sure if you can do the Sony mounts. I don't see why they wouldn't, but maybe you can. This is a $799 lens. It's a lot less expensive than I ever imagined that it would be when it was first announced. Now, it's an 18-35. So it is a short zoom range lens. It doesn't go very far. Obviously a 17-50 Sigma 2.8 zooms a lot further, but this is a couple of stops quicker in terms of the aperture. Now I shot this on the Canon T3i, which is a crop sensor camera. You have to shoot it, or it's meant for a crop sensor, meaning that you multiply on the Canon side by 1.6, the 18 times 1.6 and the 35 times 1.6, and on the Nikons, you multiply it by 1.5 to get the 35mm equivalent of your lens. So on the Canon, you're looking at almost a 29mm lens. Now that is not very wide for a wide-angle lens on a crop sensor camera. In my opinion, when I used it on the T3i, I had a little bit of trouble focusing. Now it's probably not the lens, it's more the focusing system in that lower end body that I was using. I think my recommendation would be, without using it on, say, a Nikon body, would be that if you wanted a lens like this, one, it would be for a higher-end crop sensor camera, the D7100, the D7000s, the Canon 7D, and the 70D, also the 60D. I feel that the focusing systems are going to be more accurate because you need to be very accurate at f1.8. Remember, just because you have the ability to shoot at 1.8 doesn't mean that you should be shooting at it. Your focal range, your focal distance, it's just so small, it's so shallow and narrow that if you're focused on the eye and just somebody moves slightly, then you get the eyebrow in focus instead of the eyeball. Now, that's why I like to shoot these lenses at, say, 3.5 or 3.2 opposed to wide open. That is what I do with most of my shots because I know how hard it is and difficult it is to shoot at f1.8. I'm also looking for the more accurate focusing systems of those higher-end DX cameras or crop sensor cameras. I think that is something to look at. But this is not a replacement for, say, a 50mm 1.8, and it's not a replacement in my mind for maybe the 35 1.8, because that is much less expensive. But who should buy this lens? Now, I don't think it should be the first lens that you purchase for $800. In my opinion, I think you should have a 17-50 and a 70-200 as a really good starting point for two lenses. That's my opinion. That's what I would start with if I'm doing wide angles, because it gives me the wide at 17 and it gives me a zoom up to 50. And then I have a 70-200, which allows me to do portraits, sports, indoors and outdoors. The 18-35 is so limiting. But it does give you close focusing. As I saw with my images, I could get pretty much within a couple of inches of Steven's face to get shots at 18mm and also at 35mm. But again, I don't think it's the lens that you buy right out of the box. I don't think that you can do as much as you think you can do with an 18-35. It's not a huge zoom range, and that's one of the things that would leave me hesitant to purchase it. Maybe as a third option. Maybe if you shoot a lot of concerts and you already have the 17-50 and a 70-200 and you feel that you need something like this to get the wider shots. This is not a portrait lens. It would be a good street photography lens. The 35mm multiplied by 1.6 and 1.5 is going to give you a nice little range to get out there and shoot some nice shots. But again, no matter how good this is, I just come back to, man, I wish it was a full frame lens. Why don't they have, say, a 20mm to 40mm 1.8 full frame lens? I understand that would be difficult and more expensive, but maybe that is something that they would work on. I just have a hard time spending, say, $800 for such a limiting lens on a DX camera. I think that you can spend the money more wisely on other Sigma lenses, the 17-50 Sigma or the 70-200. Now again, that's my opinion, but that's what this review is about, what I think about it. In terms of the quality of the lens, it does everything that you would think it would do. It's very, very good. If you shoot video, it doesn't have image stabilization built in, but again, this lens shouldn't have image stabilization built in because it is wider. I don't think that you're buying this just for video. It could do a great job. The pictures look punchy. The pictures look sharp. That's what it's all about when it comes to a lens. But I've thrown in there my opinion. You can download the raw files of the sample images that will be posted, and you can make up your mind for yourself. So all in all, yes, it's a great lens. It's just a very small focal range, and you have to be very careful shooting at f1.8 because if you're going to shoot at 1.8, because it's a very narrow depth of field, and if it's not tack sharp and it's out by just a little bit, it's not a usable image. So that is my review of the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. If you'd like to pick one up, check out allenscamera.com. They have all your Sigma lenses, and there you have it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Have you subscribed here on YouTube yet? Well, you can do so simply by clicking subscribe inside this red box, then go over to manage subscriptions, give that a click, and click right next to my name, as well as email me about new uploads. You will receive an email every time I upload a new video. Thank you very much.